Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Football League World TV, where today we are going to be talking all things Sunderland and, in particular, the business that the Black Cats need to be doing over the course of this summer transfer window as they prepare for life back in the Championship following their long-awaited promotion from League One, which was, of course, secured last month with that League One playoff final win over Wycombe Wanderers. I'm Toby Wilding. I'll be your host today, and joining me is my fellow Football League World writer, Billy Mulley. Billy, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, doing very well, thank you. As you say, a sort of stunning story with Sunderland. Alex Neil coming to the fray and delivering promotion. It's been an incredible few months and deserving winners through the playoffs. So really, really good.
Yeah, it was a fantastic impact that Alex Neil had after his arrival at the Stadium of Light, wasn't it? And obviously, it's now got them back into this position where they are preparing for life in the second tier. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, perhaps, for them to re-establish themselves, and a lot of that could hinge on the business they're able to do over the next few months. So, Sunderland fans, if you are watching, please do get in touch. Let us know who you would like your team to sign over the course of the transfer window, and we're going to get started and take a look at what we think about the whole situation. Yeah, we're going to start in attack to begin with, and with a player who is one who was absolutely key to Sunderland's success last season. That, of course, is Ross Stewart. 26 goals over the course of the campaign, including one that really sealed promotion at Wembley in that playoff final win, as we mentioned. There's inevitably been links with other clubs, the likes of Norwich, Swansea, Rangers being credited with interest in him. So, Billy, how important is it for Sunderland that they keep Ross Stewart this summer?
Yeah, I think it's massively important. And when you think of when he actually came in, came into regular football, he was tasked with filling the boots that Charlie Wyke had departed. And, it wasn't going to be an easy job given Wyke's goals, given Wyke's sort of contributions. There was a little bit of uncertainty as to whether he could handle being that sort of talismanic figure. But he's answered that completely this season. This 25 plus goals, his ability to hold the ball up and link the play. Technically speaking, he's a very, very good forward operator, and just everything about him this season has been top draw. And coming into the Championship, you want to try and keep as much of the squad together. Stewart's probably as integral as you get for that Sunderland squad. And then you look at the interest that's coming in for him, high level interest. You think of Norwich, that they're likely going to be up there in the Championship next season. They typically are. Rangers, the lure of European football. Swansea, and another team that are going to be looking to trouble those promotion places next year. It's no surprise to see the calibre of clubs that are after him, but Sunderland do have the lure of Sunderland itself is big enough. So definitely a big player for Sunderland, who they'll want to be keeping close to the Stadium of Light next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that he's certainly echoed by Adam here, saying that keeping Ross Stewart, the main thing to do for Sunderland, backing him to get 15 plus goals in the Championship. That certainly is something you could see happening with the form he's been in at the minute. But that being said, regardless of whether Stewart stays or goes, do you feel that another attacking addition will be necessary for Sunderland, either to fill his boots or, if he stays, provide that sort of cover for him?
Yeah. You'd think if Stewart was to remain at Sunderland, there'll still be attacking additions. You need to be prepared for a Championship season. They're coming into the league, and as well as being new boys to the division again, it'll all be about surviving the drop. They'll be ambitious, Sunderland. I imagine they'll be very ambitious this summer. It's a massive club with high expectations throughout the club as well. So it's I imagine that they're going to be taking this Championship campaign to its fullest extent and properly going for it. And I think that comes with adding perhaps another striker to provide cover and competition. I think that's going to be massive. Nathan Broadhead, a very, very good player, looked a level above in League One. Didn't see too much football, but when he did, as I said, he just looked championship ready. His ability to score goals, his ability to get in behind. He's really a exciting forward that, you know, if Sunderland do not strike a deal with him, then he should be playing championship football. And I think Everton may even run the rule over him. He's that kind of player that could grow into something brilliant. So, you know, if Stewart and Broadhead were at the club into the championship season, then yeah, it could be a real good striking duo. Or if Broadhead's over on the left flank, again, a position that he can score goals from, then yeah, I think they can be confident in their chances. And as the comment just said there, 15 goals. I think that could even be looked as a minimum for Ross Stewart, given the service he's going to get. You know, that they'll bolster their options around him as well, which I think would be massive in terms of improving that goal tally and really taking himself to the next level in the championship.
Yeah, as you say, the championship definitely a potential destination for Nathan Broadhead, even if not with Sunderland, perhaps Wigan. Obviously, one of those clubs who came up with the Black Cats this season, I think, are ones who we've seen linked with Broadhead recently. And you mentioned there as well about Broadhead potentially switching out to a wider area. And so when you look at the situation in those positions for Sunderland, you know, like Aidan McGeady, he's moved on now. His contract's expired. Jack Clark's back at Tottenham after his loan spell. It sort of still maybe remains to be seen if Patrick Roberts and Lyndon Gooch will be putting pen to paper on new contracts. So are those wide areas something that you feel Sunderland do need to look into strengthening this summer?
Yeah, perhaps. Well, I say strengthening, but I think it's just ensuring that they've got service to Stewart. As I say, I think Stewart's going to be a massive part as of the team next year, and important to the degree of success that they'll see next year. And having quality wingers with good delivery, I think is going to be massive. We've seen Patrick Roberts have a really good stint so far. Whether he signs a new deal at Sunderland remains to be seen, but I think that would be a very good addition. A very unpredictable winger, somebody that can quite easily cut in and bend one into the top corner with his left foot, or go out on the outside and deliver with his right foot. He's a really talented player that I think Stewart will see a lot of success from if the two of them are operating with each other. As you say, Lyndon Gooch, again, very good player for the squad, I believe. Whether he'll see too many starts in the championship next year if he does remain a Sunderland player, I'm not too sure about that. But to have him on, he can make an impact. He, again, great delivery. End product can be very good. But yeah, as you say, with Clark going back, Aidan McGeady, obviously a very consistent and important source of creativity over the years. I think getting another player of a similar kind of level to him would be excellent. As I say, I think it's so important for this Sunderland side. I think wingers are very important. As I said before, Stewart benefits off great service. You stick it up in the air and he wins the headers more often than not. So yeah, as I say, the wing position I think is going to be crucial for them.
And on the flip side to that, perhaps to some extent, if we look more centrally for Sunderland in midfield, you know, you sort of assess the options they've got there already at the minute. Corey Evans, Dan Neil, Jay Matete, Elliot Embleton, Luke O'Nien, Cole Winchester, all capable of playing that position. When you sort of consider that, do you think that in that position Sunderland have enough at the minute, or do you think maybe they need to bring another couple of options in that position, especially when you consider the fact that of those players, there's only really Corey Evans who has that championship experience?
Yeah, I think you sort of hit the nail on the head there. I think championship experience is perhaps the only factor they are missing. Not completely missing, given Corey Evans is experience, but I think that to make that step up to really impose themselves next year, I do feel that an extra player with championship experience should be required, because you've pretty much got everything else when you look at the other options there. You've got the youthful talent of Dan Neil, the creativity of Elliot Embleton, Winchester. He's a very consistent performer. Matete. There's sort of the physicality, but the athleticism as well. They really, really do have a good mix in central midfield areas, and they they dominated the midfield battles pretty much on every occasion in League One last season. So yeah, you add sort of Alex Pritchard into the attacking midfield role, then you've got some really, really strong options already. But as we say, Championship is a different ball game. For me, it's Championship experience that they should be prioritising in the midfield area. And then really you've got to consider Dan Neil is likely to continue attracting transfer interest if a deal comes to fruition that Sunderland can't ignore. Then that they'll have a healthy budget to readdress that midfield area. But that's something that if it was to happen, then you'd want it done relatively quickly so that you've got the rest of the summer to readdress that and prepare yourself for Championship football.
Yeah, I certainly have seen a number of clubs credited with an interest in Dan Neil. He does seem like the big one in that sort of Sunderland midfield who might be the subject of a bit more of an uncertain future, if any of them. Let's talk about defence now. And one player we have seen linked with a return, as it happens, to the Stadium of Light this summer is Dion Sanderson. Obviously had a very impressive loan spell with Sunderland a couple of seasons ago, and as I say, now being linked with a potential return to the club. Sheffield United, though, another side who are interested in him. Would you see Sanderson being a good signing for Sunderland, though?
Yeah, I do. As you say, the 2020-21 season was very, very productive for him. Really accelerated his progression, and he went into this season, and I'm really surprised that he didn't. He didn't have the kind of impact I was expecting, especially at QPR. A little bit of he's halted his career slightly, but I think a move back to Sunderland would be a really, really good addition. I think Alex Neil, he can get the best out of young players. He's proven that in recent years. I think Sanderson himself has got so many desirable qualities that you would want in a modern day centre back. He's very, very dominant, sort of aerially and defensively on the ground. Very progressive as well, the ability to carry the ball forward and sort of split the passing lanes into the midfield as well. He's a player that's got, ticks a lot of boxes, I think, is what we've got to say about Sanderson, and definitely has the ability to step up with Sunderland and make a real difference. I do think, as we probably will mention in a second, I do feel defensively that there can be improvements this summer, and I think that might be slightly more of a priority than anywhere else on the pitch this season. But yeah, I think Sanderson would be a top addition for Sunderland, and kind of player. As a player, if you've succeeded at a particular destination before, I think that can only bode well for a return.
Yeah, and as you say, that interest from a club such as Sheffield United made it all the way to the Championship playoffs this season, shows just how good he can be at that level, and also means that this would be a bit of a coup, bit of a statement of intent for Sunderland if they pull it off. But as you touched on there, defensively improvements, it does seem are needed. And when you sort of consider the situation with a number of the options that Sunderland have had for the past few seasons in terms of players that have been released or loans that are coming to an end, contracts that still have to be decided, do you feel that even if they do get Sanderson, there will still need to be some extra defensive reinforcement on top of that?
I do, yes. As you say, Sanderson's situation's a little bit uncertain whether they go for him. I think Callum Doyle, very, very good season, progressing at an exciting rate. If they can agree a further deal for him, I think that would be a very good step in the right direction. A player that he defensively speaking, he grew in stature. Aerially speaking as well, same kind of story. But then as a progressive defender, bringing the ball out, passing range, sort of interceptions, defensive intelligence, it was all there for all to see. So I think naturally the Championship will be the next best step for him. And it would be at a destination, like I said before, that he knows it very well. I think that will only bode well for Sunderland and himself in terms of professional development and parent club as well. You're gonna trust a club like Sunderland, who have just pretty much repaid your faith by sending them there and seeing regular game time. So yeah, I could see that happening. I do think championship experience again could prove pivotal. Recent championship experience in that, maybe not the most inspiring name, but the kind of players that possess a lot of championship experience and can help bridge the gap for Sunderland. Curtis Davies and Aidan Flint, two names that I think would solidify that defence massively. As I say, they're not, young up and coming defenders with resale value, but they're players that will get the job done and big characters within the dressing room. You think of Curtis Davies at Derby, his ability to help develop the younger players within the squad. Similar kind of scenario with Sunderland, with the amount of youthful players and the sort of youthful talent that they've got at the club. I think Davies could be a real good addition for a year. So I think adding youthful player in either Callum Doyle or Sanderson, and then perhaps going down the more experienced route of a Davies or Aidan Flint, I think that could be really, really beneficial for Sunderland to, as I said before, it's not just about surviving the championship drop for them this season. It's about how far can they actually go.
Yeah, definitely. And sort of, as you say, there'd be a great deal of experience there with someone like an Aidan Flint or Curtis Davies. Certainly could help those sort of younger players, say a Callum Doyle, in the next step of his progression. Obviously, one other factor that is worth mentioning is, as Adam points out here, we do have the talk now about new investment coming in from Sunderland. There's rumours of offers being accepted for stakes in the club. So do we sort of think that could sort of see Sunderland be one of the big spenders in the Championship, particularly if that investment does come in?
I think they'll be one of the biggest spenders in the Championship, but I don't think there's going to be too much money thrown around in the second tier this year. I think Sunderland, they'll be intelligent with their recruitment. They have been over the last few years. But at the same time, I still can imagine them spending a lot. And, as I say, it's not just about surviving the drop. It's about how far they can go. So I think that, get the right bits in places at first. And then I'm sure they'll look to spend in positions that they feel will need strengthening for the Championship. Maybe not amongst the biggest spenders, but I think they'll be, within the top 10 in the division in terms of what they will spend. And, that goes back to how ambitious the club are from the fan base right through to the management team, and, everyone to do with Sunderland Football Club will be ambitious about the season coming ahead, because, it's a real exciting feeling around the club. They've got the right processes in place. I think Alex Neil, a top manager at Championship level, and the fact he's managed to steer them back to the second tier can only mean good for the club.
Yeah, definitely. And as you would imagine, any investors coming in, you think they're going to want to put that marker down, don't you? And win the fans round and show they are serious about the club. So that is something as well that, could help sort of nudge them in the direction of bringing in some funds to recruit those players that Sunderland need to be competitive in the Championship. And just one other comment coming in on the sort of defensive issue, a couple of good experienced centre-backs in the Championship in Danny Bath and Bailey Wright. Who would like to see some youthful inferiors, and now would Mikhail, just sort of adding on that one that he'd like to see Sunderland go for. He certainly fits that bill. He's Dan Ballard talks about him being potentially available at Arsenal. Had some impressive times on loan already in the Championship, hasn't he?
Yeah, Dan Ballard, a really, really good player. Done wonders, I think, with Blackpool, as a sort of collectively. Blackpool done wonders, but Ballard was a big part of that. Millwall fans love him. Think he's been brilliant. But I think the good thing that he's got from his experience at Millwall is that he's always been a progressive ball carrying defender. But he's gone to Millwall where he's with the experience, and he's managed to put his body on the line. He's learned sort of the grittier side of the game there. So I think Dan Ballard, is becoming a real well-rounded defender, be an excellent addition at somewhere like Sunderland. And as you say, with investment coming in, if you factor into that Dan Neil could demand a hefty fee if he does depart, I think it's all the making of Dan Ballard going to a club like Sunderland and doing really, really well. And you look beyond this season. If they were to sign someone like Dan Ballard, definitely could establish himself in the Premier League as well. And it comes down to ambition. I'm sure if there was talks with Dan Ballard to Sunderland, he would be able to feel the ambition of the club, feel the processes that are going on, and sort of get what the club is all about. I think that's a very, very good call.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, if he is available, it would be no surprise to see a lot of interest in him. So going back to what we were talking about, it would be a big show of intent from the investors if they were to bring him to Sunderland. Just one more position now in the Sunderland squad to take a look at in terms of business for the summer transfer window. That, of course, is in goal, where one player we have seen linked with a move to the Black Cats recently is John Ruddy, obviously a veteran keeper now, free agent after leaving Wolves. A move to Sunderland would see him reunite with Alex Neil after their time together at Norwich. So could you see that being a good signing for Sunderland, Billy?
Yeah, again, I think... he'd obviously be able to do a job in the Championship, but I think it's also the sort of dressing room capabilities he'd bring. He'd be somebody that has the experience. He's somebody that's quite well documented. Like the personality, the character he's got would be very, very beneficial into a changing room at Sunderland, and especially one that will be tasting Championship football for the first time in a while. So, I get fully behind that. I think it would be excellent for Anthony Patterson's development as well, having a keeper as experienced, as talented as John Ruddy around the training ground. But I do think that Anthony Patterson, I think he could cut it at Championship level. He's proved it. He proved that he could operate at the top end of League One after a National League loan spell. Why can't he keep on progressing, keep on this upward trajectory, and reach some really incredible heights? And you sort of could draw parallels to Mark Travers in terms of him being very inexperienced and trusted from the start in the Championship, and that decision, and the decision not to spend lots of money on a replacement has paid dividends for Bournemouth. So I could see Anthony Patterson being in sort of that same mould.
Yeah, and just sort of similarly to what we were talking about in defence with the Sanderson situation, potentially needing some more on top of that. Do you think with Lee Burge leaving after his contract expiration and Ron Forben-Hoffmann returning to Bayern after his loan spell, could you see that sort of potentially opening the door for another goalkeeping recruitment, even if Ruddy does come?
Yeah, I do. I think as a Luton fan, I understand the importance of having 3 senior options as a goalkeeper. I think that you definitely need to have that, unless you've got a very, very capable youthful option coming through. I believe that adding perhaps another option, maybe that are not seen as integral or first team as the sort of aforementioned duo, but I still think that getting 3 senior goalkeeping options, it's a safe option, but I feel that you need to have that in today's world. And just naturally we see more goalkeeping injuries. As I said, you've seen it at Luton, you've seen it at QPR as well. Can turn sort of disastrous if you don't have those procedures in place. But at the same time, it's not too common when those situations happen. So it's quite an interesting one, whether clubs should go in with 3 senior goalkeeping options or 2. I think that's an argument for another day. But in my view, I would go for another one.
Yeah, always a big discussion to have, especially with the opportunities for game time so limited, obviously, with only 1 selection per game in that position. Well, that is all we've got time for today on this debate show, and that is it for Football League World TV today. But don't forget to keep an eye out for more shows coming up over the course of the week. Tomorrow afternoon, myself and Adam Jones are going to be joining Ben Wignall for the FLW TV transfer show, looking at some of the later streamers from around the Championship, League One and League Two. In the meantime, Billy, thank you to you for joining me today. Thank you to all of you who've been watching at home and for your comments. We really do appreciate them. If you have enjoyed the show, please do give us a like and a subscribe on the YouTube channel. Really helps us sort of get the channel out there. So that would be much appreciated. But for now, take care and we'll see you soon.